Absolutely. Let's take a look, though, at the slightly reduced grid for race number 3 of the Touring Car Masters. Eddie Abelnika, they've repaired it. The Melbourne's cheapest cars, Falcon, will start from pole position alongside Ryan Hansford, Cam Tilley and Bruce Williams on the second row. The two Adams again joined at the hip, this time starting from the third row, Garwood and Bressington, Cam Mason, Leo Tobin, Wayne Mercer and Michael Cannon from the fifth row.
Melinda Price goes from 11th, was able to avoid the dramas in race number 2 earlier today. Darren Beale, Stan Adler in the Porsche and Rowan Little next. Manny Paliaris and Bob Wisely, then Graham Alexander and Stephen Johnson. So Steve said to me after race 2 this morning, he said, I was actually lucky that we got to start from the back because I avoided all the drama, and perhaps finally the luck has turned for Team Johnson. Brief shot there of the XB Falcon GT with its patched up front guard. So what happened when they recovered that car, Matt, the front guard had fallen off and it had disappeared into the ether somewhere between turn 2 at Winton and the TCM paddock, and it only got returned just before they had to roll the car out to the form-up grid. So they managed to get it on there, and with some 100-mile-an-hour tape, it's all good to go. And Eddie Abelnika starts this race from P1.
Someone thought they had a souvenir.
Yes.
They were very wrong.
He was really frustrated too because he felt like he had a car that could go with the two SLR Tiranos, the A9Xs, on the front row of the grid. He's still got one alongside him though, because Ryan Hansford has been really fast all weekend long. He was quickest in the wet yesterday. Been having power steering dramas in the multi-spares Tirana up to this point, but they believe they've got that fixed. Not that they had much time to test it in race 2, though the quick jink to the right when he avoided the crash was probably a good example that his steering's working just fine.
So many cars who were lucky to survive that first lap incident earlier today, and not much turnaround time. If we start thinking about where we're going next in the championship, we're heading north to Darwin's Hidden Valley Raceway in late June, and teams are going to be thrashing really to get there because the gap between the first and second rounds, better part of 2 months. Yeah,
it's a big trip up to Darwin. I spoke to Matt Stone, who's already in the process of disassembling Jason Gomersale's Tirana here at the racetrack, and they believe they'll be okay. John Bow as well think they'll be all right for Darwin, but there was some underside damage to that car that wasn't apparent. Going back, Adam Garwood managed to avoid the dramas as well, the young Tasmanian, but he had that hit yesterday when Darren Beale bounced off the curb. It shattered a wheel, and it actually shattered the brake rotor in the front left corner of that Tirana as well. So there was more damage underneath than it looked like, and that was very much JB's problem with that crash earlier today. Not only did he bounce off Eddie Abelnika's car, but he bounced off the wall, and that did some drama, and JB was a little bit tender after that race earlier, so that's why that car's not out there.
No question about it. Cars going the rows of 2 right now. Ford and Holden on the front row. Ryan Hansford, who's full-time in this year's series, the ex-Kerry McMahon Tirana out of the Peters Motorsport team, and his long-backing sponsor and multi-spares has joined on. A seat adjustment to that car after Adelaide. He's very, very tall, and now he's got the comfort levels just about right, apart from the lack of vision we had in Friday practice. He starts alongside Eddie Abelnika, former star on the high banks at the now sadly missed Calder Park Thunderdome, getting set for a start. Final race of the weekend, the Touring Car Masters. Hansford missing the start here, and he's going to drop back maybe 1 or 2 positions because a little pacer with a full head of steam will slot up to second spot. We were almost 3 wide going into turn number 1 with Bruce Williams in the AC Delco Tirana, and this time we're safely through.
There's some nerves through there. I think that lap as Hansford goes down the inside of Cameron Tilley, who did a really good job to avoid the dramas. He was inside that top 10 where it was all teeing off, but he's going to get bustled back a spot here. Hansford goes through, Garwood will go through as well. Adam Bressington, who had an eagle-eye view of the crash from his onboard camera, and watched his teammate Mark King crunch heavily into all the cars that were parked in front of him there just past turn 2. But we're all clean, Matt. We're up and racing, and it's good to see in the Touring Car Masters.
Here's Bruce Williams once again impressive yesterday, chasing John Bow through the field. The view from Cameron Mason. The patience around this left and right on the first lap.
Every single driver in this field had a story to tell about how they avoided the big one. It's like you watch a NASCAR race at Talladega, and those that get through go, man, that was close. Don't know what happened, but we got through it. And everyone that avoided it was telling the same story and looking at their onboard vision and going, wow, we got really lucky. Cameron Tilley was one of those in that Valiant Pacer. He's had some damage on that car from the Clipsal 500, and really works on it in his spare time at Tilley Engineering. And Hansford wide. Geez, had a wild lap in the multi-spares Tirana, and Garwood goes through. So that's P2 now for the young Tasmanian.
As he did in 2016 in the trophy race on the Sunday. This not being the trophy race today. We ran that yesterday. Finds himself in a solid position, and now sets about The chase on Eddie Abel-Nika. Now Hansford. He's got the 95 of Adam Bresington, celebrating his 50th birthday in between Adelaide and this weekend's round. Great shot for all the fans right up against the fence at the old start-finish line here at Winton.
Still getting a race in this. I'm watching Bruce Williams at the back of this train in the AC Delco Tirana because he's been wild all weekend long. Very, very fast. He told me this morning that he ran his old tyres on purpose for yesterday's trophy race. He saved a good set of his qualifying tyres for this race. So he's got good rubber. It's not stopping him sliding the AC Delco Tirana around, though.
Too much grip in some areas.
Cameron Tilley just in front. Bressington there in the White Line Racing Chevy. Bob Middleton, legendary figure in Aussie Motorsport, former super speedway racer and a multiple Aussie truck racing champ. As we watch Hansford just run a little bit wide at 11, drop it off that exit curb there before the final corner and surrender the spot to Garwood. This is what he did.
Oh.
Slide, wasn't it? Quite able to gather it up in time to stop the other Tirana coming through. To my
only invitation needed. Same two now for Bresington on the inside of Tilley. A great race here today in 5th position. Try to switch back. Bresington's done this all before, and now Bruce Williams lines up for a pass on the Glennon Transport entry.
Yeah, really good run out of the final corner. To my point about Bob Middleton, he was saying how impressed they've been with Adam Bressington and how he's settled into that White Line Racing team. It's a real family organisation with Bob and Sharon Middleton, who put a lot of time and energy and money into that operation. So they're really pleased. He's fighting at the front of the field in this one. He's 4th. This is the scrap for 5th and 6th place between a 6-cylinder Hemi Valiant Pacer and a 308 powered Holden Tirana. He's being driven very, very hard. These two guys, out of everyone in this field, have probably got a reputation for driving things the hardest. They just have got maximum attack all the time, which makes it very, very spectacular to watch.
I think I'd like to be in the Tirana if I had the choice, but the Pacer would be a pretty cool mount to drive around in too.
Such a popular car too, Matt. I think the fact it's 6-cylinder car racing, all these V8s, huge amounts of horsepower and torque, but Cameron drives it hard. It's a long thing, it's really wide, it's quite low, very, very unique, and it's surprising when that car goes fast. It doesn't look like a fast car, but it really is. It's unbelievable.
Making the most of it before we go to Darwin.
Correct.
That massive long straight up there, nearly 1.1 kilometres in length. And now Bresington trying to go the long way around on Ryan Hansford. Hoping Hansford will run wide here and try to switch back. Here he comes. Nothing doing there.
Battle this. Ryan Hansford was just keen to get a round under his belt. You mentioned his seating dramas at the Clipsal 500, so he's sitting too close to the steering wheel, and he'd find halfway through the race he was getting pins and needles and his legs were falling asleep, which isn't ideal when you're having a workout. The Adelaide Street Circuit, Wayne Mercer and the Lindways building forward, pointing the wrong way. He's got a brand new engine in that car for this weekend. Won't be doing much when it's stopped on the side of the road.
You've got to be comfortable in these cars. And Hansford, one of the tallest guys in the field. This is Johnson.
This is interesting. So Stephen Johnson on the comeback trail started from the back of the field, just got into the door of the number 74 GDHO Falcon. So Steve's up to 8th place and he's chasing down Cameron Mason. And a battle for the lead as well. Adam Garwood catching Eddie Abel-Nika.
Look at Williams. It's the widest pacer you'll ever see. It's incredible.
I told you drove it hard. There's proof. So this car, the Tirana, Bruce Williams driving, built by Les Small, the legends of our sport. And right back to the Group C and Group A touring car days. He's a very interesting character to go and have a chat to about the history of the sport. Really enjoys being involved in Touring Car Masters behind the scenes. Having a guy like Bruce who he knows is going to drive his car at 110% every race, if not a little bit more.
He's getting in practice on the outlap. Look at Garwood right on the back of Abel-Nika here, and lots of time on his side. The 18-year-old Tasmanian. Engine change for this car between Adelaide and this round. He tested at the famous Baskerville Raceway, which has had a repave in the recent past. It's good to see some of these tracks getting a bit of love. Ballala, for example, in South Australia, you and I are very close to. It's been sold in the recent past, and hopefully we'll get to see some cool racing back there.
I had a cringe when I popped down to the Garwoods between races because they were slightly caught up in that incident at the start of the races. Williams has another crack here at Tilley. He wasn't too keen on Bruce going through, and he put the block on, but Williams was able to get it turned in. What about the over-under for Cameron? No, the Pacer has to surrender the spot. So Bruce Williams moves forward to 5th place. Cringe moment. The last thing you want to do is go down to a pit lane and see someone taking to a Tirana with an angle grinder.
Oh, don't do it.
No, terrible, but that's what they were doing to try and get the guard pulled away from the right front corner where he'd clipped one of the cars that was spinning, trying to avoid the melee at the start of race 2.
So Tilly has gathered his thoughts here. Blake Williams goes, if you want it that much, you can have it. I'll think about it for the next lap, and now he'll do the hounding on the back of the AC Delco Tirana. Speaking of Tiranas, here's Adam Garwood pressuring the Melbourne's cheapest cars Falcon. A fast Eddie Abelnica coming down to turn number 10 and approaching the half race distance lap. Race 3 of the Touring Car Masters at Winton Motor Raceway.
How good's the pacer though?
It's cool.
Just gets driven so hard.
Screaming its head off.
It's a really good story though, Adam Garwood, who's sort of taken the alternate approach to Touring Car Masters racing, where he's a young guy coming through the ranks, where the series, I suppose, had a track record of guys like John Bowe and Jim Richards at the other end of their career. But the bottom line is that these are big, heavy racing cars to drive. They're under-tired and overpowered. So the philosophy is not dissimilar to a supercar. So why not learn the ropes in something that's a little bit similar? It's unique. You can sell some sponsorship. You can learn a lot. You can have a really good time as well. They're really enjoying it. They're having a great time. And his improvement, Matt, over the last 12 months has been really impressive to watch. He's got faster and faster every round, and he's won the reverse grid races before. Hasn't won a standard, normal, points-paying TCM race yet. This is a sign of his progress working through the field. This
category's really evolved, hasn't it, in the past few years? It sat there with the shackles on, didn't it? Up to about 2007, 2008, they relaxed some of the rules, which were pretty unique, and we'd probably laugh at them now if they were going to be brought back in. But open them up now, they're real race cars. They've been a real hit right around Australia for the past 10 years.
The one rule that I think everyone's really pleased, and we should emphasise after what happened in race 2, and it'll be a discussion point over the course of the weekend as well, the smoke pouring from the back of Stephen Johnson's Mustang, car still affectionately known as Sally from when it was in John Bowe's hands, is that these cars run very similar safety standards to a current supercar. They're all the same standards apply to a Touring Car Masters car. So while there are 1960s and 70s muscle cars, their safety is very, very good. The cars are strong, and that's why most of the drivers are able to jump out of their cars and walk away from that very, very high-speed incident. Battle for the leads on though, Matt. Garwood with a really good run out the final corner.
What about Bressington? He's about a second behind these guys at the moment. You'll see him pop into the shot, the White Line Transport team. Two-car assault out of South Australia. Garwood just working away at the wheel. The bruised and battered Falcon of Eddie Abelnica is under siege in the second half of race number 3.
7 times a race winner in Touring Car Masters, Eddie Abelnica, and 1 round win to his credit. He's been a real staple of this category since its formation in 2007. Started out in Mustangs, but he was one of the first to jump to the big XP Falcon Coupe when it became eligible in 2010. He's under pressure from the next big thing in TCM, the Holden Tirana, which is the car to have at the moment. And gee, he's under some pressure, but Garwood driving this car well. The trick a lot of them were saying was you've got to keep the rear tyres under them, and in fact, a lot of them were quite thankful in a way that they didn't go that distance in race number 2, because they've all got really good tyres for this race, and they'll be able to push hard for the full 12 laps. Here goes Garwood.
He's got enough to do it here. Abelnica's giving him just enough room. They're going to clash panels and go side by side. The little Tirana will get the lead here on lap 7.
So, aggressive move. Went down the inside. He used a lot of curb on the inside and got up on 2 wheels, but was able to get through, and there might have been a little bit of a rub on the corner exit there. Need to have another look at that, but thought that was pretty good. He did come from a little bit far back perhaps, but it was exciting. He's got a good run out the final corner. More power in the XP Falcon. Contact. He's got into the back of Garwood, who manages to get it stopped and turned in, used some curb, bit of a shortcut.
Watch Bressington. Bressington will make the move down the inside. It was like a magnet, wasn't it, from the back of the Tirana?
Don't know if he just expected Garwood to brake later than that. So here's the initial overtake. Dived down the inside. It was a long way down. Used a lot of the curb, bit of 2-wheeling, but not a bit of hip and shoulder on the outside. But here it is on the run into turn 1. So you can see Garwood's on the brake. The front of the car dived down as he got to the brake pedal. And then Eddie Abelnica into the back of the number 12 Holden, who had to take the rallycross joker lap across the curb on the inside there to get the thing turned in. And now it's a 4-way battle for the lead, because Hansford's joined in on this as well.
Round they go out of turn 9. Who's your tyres on the rear of Eddie Abelnica's cars will be pretty sad after that 70-metre lock-up. And suddenly Ryan Hansford is in the mix. 4th position for the multi-spares Tirana. Late on the gear change back in. I think Jason Bark won of his steering wheel work, isn't he?
Fortunately or unfortunately for Eddie Abelnica, he won't be able to tell if there's any more damage on the front of his Falcon, given it was so beaten up after the first race. Anyway, wow, going past Bob Wisely, lap car into turn 11. Hansford left it very late to go past the car that's liveried up in the Ron Hodgson Motors 76 Bathurst 1000 livery this weekend. And here goes Hansford, Matt. Good drive out of the final corner, and he's going to get Bressington here.
So final lap, we're going to go short here, so Hansford is going to have to go for the go button now, and Bressington trying to switch back, get the pass here and protect the line into turn number 1. Camp Tilley, if this went the whole distance, he would be buying in for position. He runs in 5th.
The pace has traditionally been very good at the end of races because it looks after its rubber really well. But we're going to be a few short in this one, time certain requirements. And Adam Garwood, he's won a reverse grid race in Touring Car Masters before, yet to win a major points-paying race. So this will be a very, very big moment for the young Tasmanian, and he did it with a bold and aggressive move down the inside. One of the most experienced guys in the category in Eddie Abelnica. I think Eddie's still got a job to do to get P2 in this race.
Yeah, it's not over.
Bressington's looking racy, and so's this guy, Ryan Hansford. What a debut for him in Touring Car Masters this year.
Sits up high in the seat of the multi-spares Tirana, back in 4th spot. Garwood, there's a couple of lap cars ahead here. It looks okay at the moment, and Abelnica, he's been pressured like you wouldn't believe on the run down to the final turn. Garwood led the Sunday race last year at Winton Motor Raceway, lost it on the last lap. Today, he won't be denied and will pick up the final race win in the Touring Car Masters. It's on for the minor positions. We'll come back to that in a moment, because Adam Garwood is the winner ahead of Abelnica. Who's going to get there? Oh, it's a dead heat. Who would you call it to? Give it to Hansford.
Hansford by 0.02 of a second, Matt, for 4th and 5th place. So Tirana Power just over the Mopar Valiant Pacer. What a race.
And there's points in that because that changes positions for the overall on the weekend.
So Abelnica should win the rounds overall in the Melbourne's Cheapest Cars XB, just in front of Bressington. The final spot will go the way of Ryan Hansford. What a motor race. What a battle towards the end in TCM.
It was only 5th position, but it was a podium place up for grabs. And Adam Garwood, breakthrough win for the Tasmanian in the points race in the Touring Car Masters round number 2 here today. Abelnica in 2nd, Bressington 3rd. Back over the page to Stan Adler. Melinda Price back in 12th position. Rowan Little and Graham Alexander back in 16th position. Take a look at the round points, and that 0.2 of a second was crucial in the end, because Eddie Abelnica will take the overall round win here this weekend, only by 4 points, back to Bressington and Hansford, who pips Tilley by 3 points. Stephen Johnson, big bag of points though, 5th position for him.
Came back to 6th place from the back of the field in that match, so really good drive through, and finally some valuable points for Stevie J on his full-time season in Touring Car Masters.